Alright guys, welcome to Videoexpress.ai. I've had this application for probably 3 weeks now. It's actually expanded quite a bit, honestly. I think when I first had it, I think they only had these first four. And then since then they've added, I think, another two or three. And I think they added another two. And then since then they added another two. So the create sound from prompt is one that's one of the most recent ones. But yeah, honestly, I've been really happy with this program so far. It kind of has just so many options. I will be honest, not all of them work as well as I would like, but overall, yeah, it gives me a chance to really get creative. Um, Now, just so you guys know, I have not understood all these options. I think some of them are still kind of like under construction. The whole application is still somewhat kind of being built as they're giving it to us. So I will be honest, there are things that sometimes work. There are sometimes things that just simply don't work, and there are certain effects that, like, I don't know exactly how they work. I just try them and then and see how they work. Like, there are certain things that, like, for instance, in painting and special effects, I don't really know what the difference between them is, because essentially you have the same kind of features on on each one, and they kind of do the same thing. So I'm trying to figure out some of these. Also, this one, out painting, to actually have access to it, I have to go to this bonus plan, which requires me to give some kind of review and I don't know, partner with them and somehow to kind of access that feature. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it means. Yeah, I've tried it, so I have to figure out exactly when my review gets posted, and then when I post it, then they'll give me access to this feature. So anyway, we'll see. So far, I've been pretty happy with some of the results. But let's just kind of dive into it and see where we go. So the main one that we're going to be looking at is the create from prompt right here, where this essentially just opens up our little kind of dialog box, which gives us the option to put in a positive prompt and a negative prompt. So positive prompt would be what I want to see, and the negative prompt is what I don't want to see. So to give you an example, I can say robots walking on the beach. Okay, very, very simple. And I can obviously get more descriptive and say on a hazy day with the sun setting in the background. And I usually separate little instances by commas. I'll say something like boats in the water, and then you wanna try to use analog markers to help the engine source from material that is going to give you something that's going to kind of trick the viewer into thinking it's real. And so usually we use analog systems like analog cameras, analog film, analog like older vintage lenses. So in this case, I'm gonna say shot on reflex 35. Let's say here, I can actually take out that comma, using Cook speed Pancros, which are some old classic lenses that have been used literally since like the 1920s, but all the way through the 50s and the 60s, 70s. They're actually still some of the most common lenses used today in film. At T 2.5, let's do T 2.5 using let's say Kodachrome film, which is an much older film. Chrome film. Okay, so this essentially is going to try to use it's basically going to be looking at all these images, whatever has to source from, and it's going to try to use that analog feel to give us something that's going to look kind of cool. So anyway, now in this little section here, we have all these little sections. I can basically say I want it to be 2D. Usually when you do 2D, it kind of sometimes it makes it look a little bit like I don't know, realistic painting, but sometimes 2D can be really realistic. But I've noticed that sometimes it almost makes it feel like it's not photorealistic, but it's still really, really beautiful. It could look like almost like photorealistic painting, but anyway. And then 3D is usually going to give you something that's more, I don't know, like animation, Pixar type feel. And then photorealistic is really where you're honing in on that, giving us the most realistic looking image to real life. So I'm going to choose that just to try to see how close we can get to real life. And then when it comes to these, I've typically found that some of these kind of overlap. So like cinematic and vintage cinema are pretty similar. Vintage cinematic and photorealistic are pretty similar. Studio portrait, pretty similar. When you go into the surreal and painting, yeah, basically in smooth texture, those are kind of similar. I should also mention that high detailed is also kind of in the cinematic photorealistic area. So I'm just going to go to photorealistic again. By the way, you can use this extend prompt here. One thing I'll say about the extend prompt is that it typically doesn't yield the results that I like. Sometimes I think like simplifying it makes it actually better, whereas sometimes when I extend the prompt, it'll almost make it look like unreal, which is kind of weird. Anyway, we can go into that later, but let's give ourselves a little shot here. One thing I'll say about the negative prompt, I don't add this very often. If you do hit extend prompt, what it's going to do is it's going to also fill in the extend prompt area, and if you do that, it's going to say, for example, if I don't want there to be any buildings in the background, I would say buildings, or let's say modern buildings, right? So modern buildings, okay? And low quality. So these are things that you don't want to see. So you just enter the actual thing. You don't say, I don't want to see modern buildings. I don't want to see low quality. No, you just say modern buildings, low quality. Let's say we say animals, humans. We just want robots here. Anyway, so then I can generate my image preview. Now here's the most amazing thing. As soon as I click this button, it's basically going to start this little thing here. And honestly, I'm gonna have this thing ready in probably a few seconds. You'll see a little kind of thing pop up already, and I can already see my image. And I'm like, whoa, oh my gosh, that is pretty amazing. I have to say, like, it's already really nice in the background. As you can see, we have our boats in the background. We have the sun setting behind. I could have added maybe some like haziness in the background if I wanted to get a little more particular. But already, this is a beautiful image. And if I like kind of zoom in a little bit, it just has this kind of, I don't know, like smooth, kind of silkiness to it, which I think that's what it's doing when it's trying to replicate the lenses. And anyway, so I'm gonna close this, and I'm gonna basically just create a video. So typically when I'm using this, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna say create a video. I'm not concerned about what all the settings I'm using, because the medium is usually going to yield the best results anyway. So I'm just going to start off here, and then if I really want to kind of like, if I really love the image, I'm like, oh wow, I want to know what this could happen. I want to know what this could do. I want to know what could happen with this image. So then I'm basically going to say, okay, well, there's a few things here we can do. Let's just go over some of these features here. Okay, so one is I can hit video length booster. Okay, currently it's going to give me about a 3-second clip. If I hit the video length booster, it'll give me about a 6-second clip. But one thing I'll say about this is that they only added this feature recently, and it sometimes works well, sometimes doesn't. Sometimes it'll give you 3 seconds of really nice, and then another 3 seconds of like kind of more like, I don't know, poor quality, more kind of pasty quality. Sometimes it'll actually give you the opposite, where the beginning isn't so good, but then the last 3 seconds is better. But usually there's a hard cut at the 3-second mark where there's a change, and there's an obvious change. It's not usually smooth. Anyway, it's just something just to realize. But sometimes you can leave this on. It will make it take a little bit longer to get the video made. But regardless, and by the way, I should say that in this corner here, you can already see it says the generation of your AI video is successfully completed, which is amazing. One thing I'm going to say is I'm not going to go there yet, just because as soon as I close this, like I cannot access this unless I close it. So basically, there's a few things I can do. I forgot to add another window here. I'll do that in a minute, but essentially I can actually have two windows open of the same thing. And then I can have one where I can look at the image, but then I can keep this prompt here. The reason I'm gonna keep this prompt here is because I can build on this prompt. So for instance, I can say reuse the same character. So that's gonna be like, all right, that's my robot guy, and I want to see that robot in other scenarios, which we can try in just a minute. But another thing I'm just gonna say is that the way the system works is that essentially it's creating the image, okay? So this is our image, is our base that it's gonna be working from, okay? So it's like Midjourney, okay? It's gonna create an image, and then the creating video part of it, what it's doing is it's basically just taking the image and it's seeing how it can animate that image. So just so you know, you can add any images here. You can find your own family photos. You can take any image. You can basically insert the image into Video Express, and it'll create something. You know, I will not say the results are always great. Sometimes they're surprisingly good, but most of the time they're pretty terrible. But it's okay. This is just part of. It's such a new industry. It's a new field. It's a lot of fun, and I would say like 1 out of every 20 exports I make or videos I create are something that I'm like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. That kind of worked out. But the rest are not. So you just have to kind of be patient and just kind of be willing to go through this. But as I said, it goes so fast. Every time I'm creating a new image, it just goes slightly fast. So one thing that you want to do is you want to save your image. It'll save in your image library. And then if you want to re-access that image later, you can go access it again and you can try to animate it again. But what I'll do typically is if I have one video that I'm really excited about, oh, how's it gonna look if I do this? How's it gonna look if I do that? I'll basically just go through all of these. So I'll just say like, okay, I'm gonna go through, I'll just start on low and I'll go, create video with medium, and then I'll create video with high smoothness. And I should mention that these things say that so the motion speed it says this is how much movement or animation you want in your videos. High speed can sometimes lead to artifacts or blurry output, and low speed can sometimes create static video. Okay, so that's good to know. And the smoothness, it says, okay, this is how much you want the final video output to be smooth. High smoothness may not work for some images. Low smoothness may change the facial features of the person. Okay, so these are just like little things that are trying to help you understand. But I'll just kind of go through and I'll just create, in some cases I'll even create like 9 videos, which is how many I can create with these options here. So I'm gonna go to motion speed, and I'll go to low smoothness, then I'll go to high smooth. So I'm not gonna do all of them, but I'll just kind of give you an idea. So and I'm not gonna follow them up later. I'm just gonna look through them and then see which one I liked, and then I think that there's a way, I think there's some metadata to tell me what settings I use to achieve those. Okay, so again, these are being created in the background at all times. There's like more videos being added at all times. So, but in the meantime, I don't want to leave this space. I'm just going to stay here for a little bit. Obviously, I want to go see what I created, but at the same time, I just want to see what more we can make from this. Okay, so I can just go ahead and say, all right, let's generate another image preview, which we can do right now, and we can see what happens. It's possible that it'll create a very similar scene, just another angle. It's possible it'll make extra robots. Sometimes it does very, very strange and unusual things. And I'll be honest, it's possible that this could crash and not work. It's happened a few times for me. When I first used the program, it was working like great all the time. Okay, here, we have another one. It's the same robot, another angle. There aren't any boats this time. Don't know why that happened, but it's just another thing to realize. So I'm gonna create another video. I'll just save my image. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna create my video in medium. So from now on, I'm pretty much gonna just be keeping to medium, just so we don't have, I don't want this to be such a long video. But now in this situation, I can basically say, okay, let's just, oh wait, I guess I did say hazy day originally. The sun setting in the background, boats in the water. Yeah, I don't know why there aren't many boats in the water. Let's say we want to add an extra feature. So let's say birds in the sky. Okay, boom, let's see what we get. Generate image preview. And again, you see how fast this works. It's actually amazing. Like Midjourney can sometimes take like 30 seconds. Some of the other video ones that I've used just take so long to create. It doesn't make any sense. Here, I'm already creating them. Okay, again, it's not giving me my video. It's still giving me my character to a certain degree. He's a little different than the last guy. Tiny bit different. But yeah, he's still kind of a similar character. Yeah, and again, I'll just create a little video, save a little image. And that just gives you an idea of what this looks like. Now, um, let's just take another direction. I'm going to keep this information here, by the way. I'm going to keep my camera. I'm going to keep my lens information, and I'm just going to create, let's say, a human face, okay? But one thing to realize is that if you're creating a video, you need to know what's in the composition. You need to know kind of where the light's coming from. You need to know how to light, and how to compose the image, right? So obviously the AI is going to be doing a lot for you, but you really want to give it as much information as you can. So let's start with a human, okay? Let's just start from scratch. I'm just going to unclick reuse the same character. And I'll even unclick the video length booster. And let's say I want model in a dark room, broad lit, which is a type of lighting. It's a lighting angle for the key light. Broad lit. Let's see what else we have. I love haze, so I can also say volumetric lighting with a soft box. Sorry, soft box with a soft box. And then what else can I say? Window in the background, window in the background, window in the background. Okay. And let's see what we get here. Okay, so we're still in photorealistic. And this one I'm actually changed it to studio portrait. I don't know why, but sometimes that gives me interesting results when I'm doing these kinds of model type shots. So let's create ourselves a model and see what comes up. Oh, and you'll notice that I kept this prompt back here. By the way, it did not fully understand the command when it came to the broad lighting. Here's a little softbox on the side. And is that supposed to be a window? One thing I do every once in a while is I'll literally just close this and then reopen it and then start it again. And sometimes I'm actually get better results because sometimes I feel like it's just still remembering previous promptings. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to copy this though. Copy all this. Boom. Close. And we'll go look at some things in a minute. Okay. So let's copy this again, and then photorealistic. We'll do cinematic this time. How about that? A model in a dark room, broad lit, volumetric lighting with a softbox window in the background of the hazy room. Okay, let's try this. Boom, create image preview. And again, the speed, that's what blows me away, that I can create the images and the results in such a short amount of time. Again, is this Sora? No, not by any means. All right, so now I'm definitely getting a closer result. It's still not doing any broad lighting. So broad lighting is where it would light the broad side of the face instead of the short side of the face. So this is what we call short lighting. But this is already it's already pretty amazing in the sense of like what kind of images it's giving you. Like again, like the details are not, incredibly sharp, and that's something I can do actually. I can be like, I can say like, blurry image, low resolution. Okay, so you can kind of put these things in there. Anyway, one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to extend the prompt. And you're going to see, yeah, I didn't really do it over here, but you can see what it did on the negative prompt section. So I'm just going to create another image preview, just kind of see what it comes up with. And by the way, at any point, you can kind of go back to a previous one. So let's say, okay, I got this one. All right, I got this model. She's lit now. Now she's broad lit. So that's broad lit properly. Okay, so it's lit on the broad side of the face. And then I can go back into this one and be like, okay, let's create a video out of that one, and then that one's done creating, and then I'll go to this one. I'll create a video here. And then in this case, I'm actually going to change it. I'm going to say shortlit. Shortlit. And again, I'm not sure if it fully understands these things yet. I'm not sure if AI models understand, the 5 key lights and proper lighting, 3-point lighting. But anyway, we're going to create another image preview. And let's see what we get. All right, so yeah, shortlit, boom, look at that. The lighting is on the short side of the face. And now I can say, okay, let's reuse that same character. Let's just create another image just for fun and see how close she looks to the previous image. By the way, sometimes when I click the, use this face, again, sometimes it'll actually create 2 people. The next one. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of cool. All right, so see, it's the same person, but just another angle. And I'll just kind of create another video. And I'll just create another one just for fun. Sometimes I do this. I'm just like, I wonder what kind of scene it'll create for me from different angles. And obviously you can get more specific about this. I'm definitely new to this, but honestly, this is really, you gotta say, like, this is quite amazing in the sense of the kind of details that you get on here. Again, if you go really close, if you get really close, you can kind of see these little dots here, you know what I mean? There's almost like what are these things, you know what I mean? It's obviously there's some kind of, I don't know, it's almost like it's like a crosshatch or something like that. That's like, you can see it's almost as if it was printed on a printer or something. Anyway, so that can happen. But anyway, so this just gives you an idea of the kind of workflow that you have here. But now let's close this. Let's look at some of the stuff we created. So I can go and hit show me, and it'll bring me straight to where I need to go. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here. Which why is it? Let me see, why is it? There we go. Okay, so go to my media library, and then here I have my AI images. So this is where I stored all the images that I found. Okay, so basically, any of the images that I have to click on preview, and I can just preview them here. And then what's cool is that, as you see, it basically gives me a little bit of the prompt. Okay, and then at any point I can go and I can say, all right, I want to redesign this. And if I redesign it, then boom, it gives me the whole prompt back again. So I can go right back to where I started and continue. So this is kind of, it really is quite intuitive. And so now let's go to my AI videos. So just be prepared for a lot of kind of crap. I'll be honest. It's like most of it's not going to be what we're expecting, but you'd be surprised. Some of them are like, kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like this one is, like this, actually, that one was not so bad. Look, you guys see the water in the background. You know what I mean? You see like the waves. By the way, I love water in this. I love messing around with water. But you can see here, you can see that there's like the water line didn't meet quite, from one side of the hand to the other side of the hand. So, sometimes you see this with like, people's extra fingers and whatnot. But look at this boat. You see the sun like glimmering off the edge of the boat, and it just kind of does that little glimmer. That's what sells these things, honestly. And I'm kind of blown away. So I'm just like, I'm going, I'll just go from one to the next and see like, hey, like what kind of other things are we going to find here? This one is pretty slow. As you can see, like the water is like hardly moving. So some of these aren't even worth the time. But that's what all this is about. It's just kind of trying to see, all right, wow, you see that? This is where I extended it. So you guys see at the very beginning, it starts off for 3 seconds, and then right here, boom, it starts zooming in to my character. And also the quality just kind of drops a little bit. So that's something you have to take into consideration. And did we already see this third one? I think we did. Let's go to the fourth one. Okay. Now that's pretty cool. Again, it wasn't, like, remember, only take the first 3 seconds seriously. You know what I mean? But that's my robot. That's my main character. He's learning about his world. He's just landed on Earth. Anyway. Yeah, some of it's weird. Oh wow, you see? He's like moving his hands. Oh, I'm gonna like fly up in the air. So when you mess with some of the speeds, it can do some pretty amazing things. So this one that we're looking at right now is basically like high speed, high smoothness, which in some cases, in most cases, are really bad, but in some cases are like actually really quite amazing. Like obviously you see his fingers blurring, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they actually work really well. So anyway, let's look at some more of these. Wow. Okay, so this is obviously crazy because I left this setting on the highest setting with the highest smoothness. So obviously, this is just gonna like do its crazy thing. So this is obviously not a great result, but you know what? These are just things you just try them, kind of mess around, you know. But look, you see that? You see just the water moving in the background, but as you can see, it's not fully finishing that little wave there. The wave is not connecting past him. So these are just like little quirks you just kind of got to get used to. Anyway, so yeah, like what's happening in the background here? Wow, I have no idea, but it's still kind of cool. You know what I mean? And look, you can see she's kind of blinking a little bit. So like these are again very subtle, but kind of cool. Honestly, not too shabby. Yeah, this is like whoa, what's happening here? I've noticed that humans definitely take a lot more work. Um, Whoa, what's happening in the background there? Whoa, I have no idea. Anyway, whoa, look at her eye there. So they're like trying to make the humans like do human things, but it just kind of seems like, you know, it just kind of most of the time is just very freaky. You know, I'll be honest. Um, but anyway, yeah. So this gives you an idea of how to just create from prompt. I'm not going to spend a whole lot more time on this video. I'll be making more videos in the future, so you guys can stick around for future ones. But let's just look at some of the other options we have here. So let's go to image to video. I'm not going to grab an image from my computer, but I will just grab an image from my library. So I just go from what kind of the images that I already have here. So again, I can go. Let's maybe find some other random image that I had. So let's say, okay, sorry, you guys are looking at all these crazy images. So I found, let's say, okay, I don't know, I have this, here we go. So I'm going to take this image of the giraffe inside of a spaceship that I created a while back. So I can basically take this image, and even though, and by the way, imagine this is any image. This could be an actual giraffe in a zoo or anywhere, and I can take it and it'll like make a video out of it, you know. And I can change the smoothness. I can say low, high, whatever, and I can just create, and then I can also, I have a few options here, not a lot, but I can say, okay, here I'll do video length booster. I'll just create a video. So that's kind of interesting. I've tried this with a few like old photos. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll do that right now. I'll grab an old photo. So let's do image to video. Select an image, and I have uploaded images. So I have this image of this guy in like some, I don't know, like an old picture of a guy getting dental work done, okay, for a documentary I'm working on. So these can be like really weird, but let's say I'll do like high, okay? So like, and I'll say I'll keep it on human for now, and then I'll make a video booster, and then I'll do photorealistic booster, and you know what? Let's try 3D. I'm not even sure if I ever tried that before. And then I'll try 3D on. I'll do medium. Okay. So generate video. So that just gives you an idea of what you can do with images. And again, you can take any image and see what happens. So these are, again, I'm not using these on a professional level yet. Some of them I might. I'm still really new at this. But anyway, let's look at a couple other things here before we finish this video. So special effects is kind of cool. So I can take any kind of, I can even take a video, I can take an image, but let's say I take a video. So I have this one in the background, and so I have, let's say we had this original one, okay? This is our image. I'm gonna choose it, okay? And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go and we're gonna draw over here. I'm gonna draw, you know, a little line, and I'm gonna say spaceship, spaceship landing. Okay, cool. And I'll just create video. I'm not sure how this is gonna work. These sometimes don't work, sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't even show up in my image, in my media library. It could be that's just me. Maybe other people aren't experiencing this, but I found that it doesn't always work. But sometimes it does, and when it does work, it is quite fun. So that's an example of something where I can basically just choose a part of the image, or in a certain scenario, let's close. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to I can even do object removal. So let's say I choose a video, my AI videos. I can choose one of the ones I made already. Okay, and let's take the original robot I had, and I'm going to choose this guy, and I'm gonna paint. Oh, whoops! Sorry, I'm gonna go right here, and I'm just gonna be like, okay, and I hope it removes it. We'll see. I can also I can do in painting where, and again, as I said, some of these features overlap, so they are kind of odd in many ways. And I can basically choose, and I can, you know, take this guy, and I can, you know, paint over him, and then I can say replace with human. Okay, generate image preview. I hope this works. It, again, the last time I tried it did not work, so does it work? Did it work? No, this one did not work. Anyway, it's okay. Look, so these, as I said, these things are still like, they're adding things all the time, and they've even admitted in some of their videos that like they have features like this vertical 16:9. It doesn't really work yet. Like they have it there, but it doesn't work. It's still like, it's like a square image inside the 16:9. It doesn't. So, but honestly, I'm happy that these guys are adding these things. It's fun to try them. Like again, here, this is a really cool one. So I can say here, let's create you know, sound effects from prompts. So I can say, okay, I you know, I want to hear you know, sounds from the Tanzanian safari, from the safari park. Okay, and we'll create a sound. And I have no idea what this is going to sound like. Never put that prompt in before, but we'll just see. And again, every time it's going to be a new prompt, so it's not going to create an identical prompt every time. But here, I can try another one. Steps walking in the forest, crushing sticks and leaves. Let's see what that does. And again, these come together really fast, honestly. Yeah, I don't know if that was like really strong footsteps, but still interesting stuff. You know what I mean? I can also say, you know, New York City sounds. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go in a second because I hear a baby crying in the background. But this is, anyway, this just gives you guys an idea of how the program works. And, let's say ambulance sirens. Okay, so boom, and I can just add things to it. So I'm gonna create one last sound. Don't hear ambulance sounds. Anyway, either way, it's an amazing attempt. It's a fun little program. And again, these things are just, it's all growing. And the cool thing about this is that I basically, you know, got this app, just after they just closed the free 7-day trial. And then so I had a choice of like, okay, either like buy like, I don't know, a cheaper version or just buy the full thing. And I'm like, you know what, I'll just buy the full thing. I want to have fun and see what it's about. And I already saw enough in other people's videos to see that, like, for me it would be useful. I don't know if it's useful for everyone. I'm not going to recommend other people to get this unless they really really enjoy this kind of stuff and if they feel that it's going to be worth it. For me, I feel like it's totally worth the money. I think I spent $160 or something like that, but I have endless uses for this in the future. I'm constantly thinking of new things to use this for. Um, and yeah, basically, if they continue to add to it, I basically have a lifetime, lifetime membership to this thing. We'll see. Anyway, so we'll look at a few last little things that we created just for fun and see what we got. Yeah, so again, these are like sometimes just very subtle movements, but honestly, it's kind of cool. You know what I mean? I have to say, it is really cool. Here's one of the old images that we used. This is gonna be funny. Some of these can be super weird, like almost freaky, honestly. Whoa, you see that? What on earth happened there? Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Let's look at a couple of these other image to prompt. But you see the guy in the background, he's just like a blur. But then you see at the very end, you see that the very end of that shot, like that I could almost use where the dentist is kind of like working with his fingers and lifting up his head. Like that is crazy. Like I don't know where we're going with this in the future, but it is crazy in my opinion. The potential. And again, they're working on this all the time, so they're just continuing to improve it. Yeah, some of these are kind of like they don't go anywhere. It's totally understood. And then let's look at this last one. Okay, so you see how at the 3-second mark it just kind of blurs away. But look, you see the dentist, he's kind of like moving his head around like, oh, I'm looking inside your mouth. Like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? That's like, at some point they're going to just turn these into all, complete, just videos, So yeah, I think we just saw that one. And then this is the one where we did object removal. So we basically removed, yeah, it didn't do a very good job. It definitely needs some work. And also, by the way, the background was already blurry, so it's not a great kind of thing that you'd want to use for removing things. And then I think this is the last little video we haven't seen. Okay. Wow, now that is pretty crazy. That's my little thing in outer my giraffe in outer space. My giraffe astronaut in outer space. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to make some more videos like this in the future. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, being on this journey with me. And yeah, tune in for the next video. Peace out.